This is a new series in which I will talk about the pillars of a state that facilitate the success of the state. This basic model has been unchanged throughout the history of civilizations, except for some minor changes. Let us explore these important pillars that made the ruling possible. In the Unification Predicament series, we talked about the need for rules and the emergence of rulers. We also talked about governance, the set of rules for the rulers. But any ruler would testify that ruling is not a one man's job. The society was engineered in a way that it gave birth to three primary professions that became the pillars of ruling, without which any ruling class would not survive. These professions were to be managed in such a way that there was a balance and communication among them. Rulers ruled over the means of production, as laws not only were created to defend individual rights, but also to manage commerce and means of production. The unskilled were the learners of skills, for the lack of a better word. In other way, we can say that they were the interns of those times. Some were learning the skill of life, and some were the helpers to those who were skilled in some form of trade. This group was the largest and was open to all, as this did not require any special skill or acumen in mental faculties as a barrier to entry. This was a door to social status for those who would choose to pursue the line of medicine, military, law, business, and priesthood, to mention a few. Historically, the unskilled group has been the primary supplier of human resource and muscle behind production. The skilled group was the effort behind the production. They were skilled in the art of production, be it the production in agriculture, services, or the machines of war. They were the scientists, lawyers, doctors, priests, or celebrities of that era. Skilled workers comprised a significant chunk of the population of the society, but not to the extent that unskilled population was. Skilled profession requires one to be specialized in the art of manufacturing a specific commodity or providing a service. Groups we discussed above did not have a direct part in the art of ruling like the ones we are going to talk next. It would have been an injustice to their contribution without any mention. The struggle to rule has always been the one with a lot of strife. To stay at the top, any miscalculation on the part of rulers or ruling families in maintaining the balance of power in a state would result in their ousting at best or assassination at worst. Thus, some rulers learned it very quickly that the effective management of these three pillars can result in the development of a state that will experience prolonged peace and prosperity. This would ensure that their dynasty will stay in power for longer. Ignore any of these, and the result would be catastrophic. Merchants were and are those who sell merchandise or any commodity for profit. They generally do not produce the commodities they sell. They have been categorized into two types throughout antiquity all the way to the modern times: merchants that traded locally and the merchants that traded over large distances. Apparently, in Europe, there were names attributed to the type of merchants that traded locally. Mercenaries were the local merchants, and the merchants that traded on the global stage were known as koopmen. They mastered the art of trading locally and amassed enough profits and contacts to venture into the large landscape of nations and continents. This was a risky gamble and required far greater resources to fund the expeditions. Global merchants later amassed so much wealth and influence on the global stage that they were able to influence the rulers of the nations. Warriors were and are the ones who defend the order of the state, along with the defenses of resources, means of production, and those who produce. If you remember in our Unification Predicament Part 1, we talked about the human settlement evolving in the same way as a living organism. And it is in the nature of the living organism to siphon resources from the places that have it in plenty. This can be done sometimes by covert means or by overt means. Similarly, human settlements acted the same way, and there was a need to defend that was valuable. Warriors have been a part of human settlement from the time it was conceived. A warrior is proficient in the art of warfare, does not shy away from events where the show of force is required, and is willing to uphold the duties should the time demand. This quality soon won the favor of the rulers for the warriors. The reason I titled this profession as a harmonizer is because of the fact that the ultimate goal of a bureaucrat is to build a balance between the different bodies that make up a state. The bureaucrat administers local level to the highest level, which is closer to the rulers. Bureaucrat is the upholder of law, and in some cases acts as an arbiter. This requires an extensive knowledge of the polity they administer. The word administer could be a synonym for rule. The only difference is that administration is ruling on behalf of the rulers. In our current age, the highest office a bureaucrat can hold is the office of Prime Minister or a President. I will dedicate more content on the topic of merchant, warrior, and the bureaucrat in the future videos. Creating content takes time and effort. Please like and subscribe if you can find my content valuable. I am your humbled host for Whispers of Veracity. Thanks for listening to me.